Your brain heard the name, stored it, then deleted it on purpose. 6 filters control what you remember. You were never taught their names. You meet someone, 30 seconds later, gone. Your brain didn't fail you. It followed rules you never knew existed. 6 gates. Every forgotten name was stopped by one of them. The last one is the darkest. Nothing like what you expect. Attentional filter. Most people think forgetting a name means they were distracted, noise, a crowded room, too much going on. Wrong. Completely wrong. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain receives 11 million bits of information every single second. It can consciously process about 50. The attentional filter is the gatekeeper. It decides which 50 survive, and it makes that decision before you even realize a decision is being made. You were at a networking event. Someone introduces themselves. Your mind is already running the calculation. Are they important? A threat? Someone you need to impress? That happens in milliseconds, and if the answer is low priority, the name never reaches storage. Not because you were distracted, because your brain quietly ruled it out before you had a chance. The filter was doing its job. You just never knew you could tell it what to do. So what do? The moment someone says their name, pause. Repeat it aloud immediately. Sarah. Great to meet you, Sarah. That single move forces the filter open. The name gets flagged. It moves forward. The filter follows your instruction. You just have to give it one. Meaning filter. Everyone knows that meaningful things are easier to remember. That seems obvious. That is the surface, not the truth. Here's what's actually happening. The meaning filter doesn't ask, is this important? It asks one thing only. Does this connect to something I already know? A name with no anchor, no face, no story, no context. It is invisible to this filter. It passes through like water through a screen. You meet someone named Marcus. The name lands. Your brain scans instantly for a hook. A Marcus you knew, a famous Marcus, anything. It finds nothing. The name dissolves. The filter didn't reject it out of laziness. It rejected it because there was nothing to hold it in place. Here's the thing. Meaning is not found. It is built. The moment you hear a name, manufacture a connection. Marcus has a jaw like your college roommate. Now it has an anchor. Now it survives. Manufactured meaning is still meaning. Your brain does not care that you invented it. Emotional filter. People think emotional memories are just stronger, more vivid, more detailed. Close, but that misses the entire point. Here's what's actually happening. The emotional filter does not strengthen all memories equally. It locks in names attached to a feeling you had in that specific moment about yourself. Embarrassment, excitement, threat. Any name that arrived while your ego was activated gets burned in permanently. Any name that arrived during a flat, neutral moment disappears. You meet your partner's intimidating parent for the first time. You remember their name instantly, forever. You meet a colleague in a forgettable Tuesday morning meeting, gone by lunch. The filter was never measuring the other person, it was measuring your internal temperature at the moment of contact. So what do? Engineer a micro-feeling right at the introduction. Find one genuinely interesting thing about them fast. One detail activates the filter. One activated filter locks the name in. Emotion is the key. You hold the key. Association filter. Most people think memory works like storage. You put something in, it stays there. That assumption is costing you every name you lose. Here's what's actually happening. Memory is a web, not a filing cabinet. The association filter only keeps information that connects to at least 2 other points in your existing network. Isolated data gets marked for deletion. Names, stripped of context, handed over in passing, arrive as isolated data. They vanish not because you forgot them, because they were never connected to anything in the first place. You remember your childhood teacher's name 40 years later because it is tied to a classroom, a feeling, a sound, a smell, a dozen stories. You forget the name of someone you met last week because it is tied to nothing. One connection, one point of failure. So what do? Build the second connection immediately. After you hear a name, attach it to their job, their city, one thing they said. 2 links. That is the minimum for survival inside this filter. 1 wire snaps, 2 wires hold. Consolidation filter. People think forgetting happens in the moment, right after they hear something. That is where everyone looks. It is not where the problem lives. Here's what's actually happening. Memory is not stored at the moment of experience. It is stored hours later, during sleep. The consolidation filter is the process by which your brain decides, while you are unconscious, which memories get permanently kept and which get quietly discarded. You have zero access to this process. It runs without you. You met someone important at 7 p.m. You paid attention. You repeated the name. You did everything right. But that night, you slept 4 hours. The consolidation window closed too early. The name, along with a dozen other memories from that day, was processed incomplete, gone before morning. You wake up and it has vanished, not because of anything that happened at 7 p.m., because of what didn't happen at 2 a.m. So what do? Guard the window. 7 hours minimum. The night after meeting someone matters more than the moment you met them. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is storage. The filter runs every night. Give it the time it needs. But all of this was leading somewhere darker. Retrieval block. Most people assume that if a memory was stored, it can be found, that retrieval is just a matter of trying harder, thinking longer, concentrating more. That instinct is precisely what destroys the recall. Here's what's actually happening. The retrieval block is not a storage failure. The memory exists, it is physically encoded in your brain, but the pathway back to it is locked because the conditions under which you try to recall it do not match the conditions under which it was stored. Your brain retrieves by context, same environment, same emotional state, same sensory cues. When those are missing, the path goes dark. You are on the spot. Someone asks you to introduce the person beside you. The name was there this morning. You felt it. You knew it. Now, under pressure, different room, eyes on you, completely unreachable. The memory did not disappear. You simply lost the door. The more you need the name, the faster your brain burns the bridge to it. Pressure spikes cortisol. Cortisol shuts the retrieval pathway down. It is a biological lockout for an overheated ego. Your desperation is the very thing destroying your access. That is exactly the point. So what do? Stop reaching. Let the search go quiet. Mentally return to where you were when you first heard the name. Recreate that context, even just in your head. The pathway reopens when the pressure drops. The memory is there, you just need the right key. This was not a lesson, it was a map. 6 filters, 6 points of control. You now own all of them. Knowing the system is not a burden, it is armor. Memory was never about remembering, it was about what your brain decided mattered before you had a say. Now, you have a say. That is now you.